A group of friends agreed to spend the weekend at the cabin near Ajusco. They planned to arrive Friday night and return early Sunday. The plan sounded good, and Daniel knew the journey would be long and somewhat lonely, as more than half of the way was just road and forest. So he prepared himself, and around 7 in the evening he took the road that would lead him to his destination. An hour and a half later, Daniel decided to call his friends, but strangely, no one answered. Daniel figured that being in such a remote area, phone calls might not work as they usually do, so he continued on his way. 40 minutes later, Daniel was just one turn away from the detour that would lead him to the cabin. So he decided to call his friends again, but this time the call couldn't even connect. Daniel decided to wait near the cabin to see when his friends would arrive. But a warm light reflecting on the edge of a small cliff caught his attention. He thought his friends had already arrived and maybe even started a campfire, so he decided to take a look. He was horrified to discover that around what looked like a flaming symbol there were 5 people in black robes. There was no doubt about it, what Daniel had seen was a cult.
Upon seeing this, Daniel decided to step back without taking his eyes off the terrifying scene. He began to take small steps backward until his back hit the branches of a tree, startling him and causing him to let out a muffled gasp, just low enough to wave his presence. Realizing he'd been discovered, Daniel immediately ran toward his car to get out of there. His tension grew as he saw the 500 figures drawing closer, and in a panic, Daniel pulled them from his car and went to hide behind the cabin. A bad idea. Behind the cabin, the small cliff continued, and Daniel fell directly down the slope. With a little strange, he had left. Daniel lifted his gaze only to see the 500 figures staring down at him from above. With his last fight of energy, Daniel ran off into the woods, going deeper and deeper into the forest.
After approximately 30 minutes of walking through the dark forest, Daniel decided to turn back, so he could circle around the cabin and escape in his car. The path was difficult to pass, and it was clear that this part of the forest had likely never been touched by human footsteps. Daniel began to notice shadows watching him from behind the large trees and felt as though someone was right behind him. So without a second thought, he started running. After about 20 minutes of running, Daniel, severely injured and utterly exhausted, reached a road crossing. It was the same route he had taken to get there. He could see turn off to the cabin from across the road. So without thinking, he dashed across. A grave mistake. A car struck him brutally, sending him flying several meters forward, leaving him completely controlled. With his last breath, Daniel saw the hood figures approaching and surrounding him. In his dying moments, he could make out the face of his friends and heard them say, "Let's skin the body and burn it." The end.